say before, but I think there's a very high probability that Davante Adams finishes over Michael Thomas this year as the number one wide receiver overall.
What's up, Fackers? We are back with our Fantasy and Chill 101, counting down the top 101 fantasy football players for the 2020 season. Number 11 on our countdown is wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, Davante Adams. He is our third ranked wide receiver. Last year, he finished as wide receiver number 24. He had 83 catches for 997 yards and 5 touchdowns on 127 targets. He scored 176.2 fantasy points, an average of 14.7 points per week. So as we know, the reason he dropped to number 24 last year, he did miss 4 games with an injury, but during the 12 weeks that he was active, he was wide receiver number 2 during that span. So when he was healthy, very effective, very good. You see those numbers in a shortened season, still very solid. Wide receiver depth in Green Bay, that's always been a question mark. Britt thought last year that maybe MVS or Geronimo Allison, one of those guys would step up. The only guy that really did anything besides Adams last year was Alan Lazard, had a couple decent games. So you thought they'd draft somebody in the offseason. No, they just drafted another quarterback instead. So
It's the quarterback's fault, that's why.
Quarterback's fault, yeah. So what that means is that Davante Adams, last year he got 31% of the target share. So almost 1 out of every 3 throws is going to Davante Adams. So he is heavily involved in that offense. But like I mentioned earlier, his durability, is it a concern? No, not really. I don't think so. But he has missed at least 1 game the last 3 seasons. All right, but it's not like he's missing a bunch of time. It's just he gets a little banged up. I don't think it's much of a concern, though. He's still he's not an old guy yet. He's still pretty young.
Yes, and this is what I found kind of amazing. I know you'll already know the answer to this, but how many seasons of more than 1,000 yards receiving does Davante Adams have?
1.
2.
1.
I thought he was close last year.
He's had 997 2 times, but that's kind of crazy for me how good he has been and his target share over 100 the last 4 years. I like we're getting to the players. I've already been over this who are great no matter what. But I like Davante Adams, but his current ADP, which I'm not gonna see him go this high in our draft. I don't believe so. His half point PPR ADP is number 8 right now, which is way too rich for me, especially with the running backs going around there. I mean, you're talking Derrick Henry, Mixon, Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, Chubb, those kind of Edwards Hilaire, those kind of guys are going right there, which I am taking over Adams. But if Adams,
real quick, when you say way too rich, like if he falls 4 spots, then that's not rich anymore. I just want to put in perspective for people watching. Like, we're not saying he's a second round, or it could be a second rounder, but he's not like a third rounder, late second.
No. But I'm saying he would have to get past the 15 or maybe 16 for me to take him, because I'm taking Michael Thomas before him, and then Julio Jones I'm taking before him also, and then Tyreek Hill is a real question for me. That's where I kind of go, I would obviously take Davante Adams over Hopkins, but the running back, if you go towards the 10 pick, 9, 10, and then you come back on the turn, or even a 12-team league, the 12, 13 pick, and you're coming back around on the turn, those running backs there are still elite. I mean, or not elite, but the fall off there. I feel like once you go from Jacobs and those guys to Aaron Jones and Eckler, it's a big difference. That's on the other side of the board. And so I never see myself taking Davante Adams because his ADP is too high.
I'm right there with you. I have him ranked 11, which is where I would say he was pretty much ranked. But I would never see a scenario where I would draft him. I'm like you, because if in the first round I'm taking one of those running backs, and in the second round, there's still that group of running backs that we've done, like Jacobs, Sanders, Eckler, that when it comes down to it, I'm probably pulling the trigger on them instead of taking Adams. Just like you said.
And
I personally like Julio and Tyreek better than Davante Adams. So,
Julio's a for sure for me over Davante, but Tyreek is a real question mark. And in Davante Adams' defense, he is the number one in Green Bay. He still has Aaron Rodgers, who's a great quarterback, had a great efficiency last year. Didn't have as many touchdowns, but he's going to lead the team in targets, no doubt. And he has a very easy schedule this year. You're talking his first 4 games are Minnesota, Detroit, New Orleans, Atlanta, and then he plays Tampa Bay and Houston. He does have a bye week 5, which is pretty early, but I like Davante Adams. I'm not taking him in the first round, and I don't think I will see him go in the first round in many drafts.
He's my number 2 wide receiver off the board, and I want to say that he will finish. I'm not going to take him because I think Michael Thomas has a safer floor, but I think there's a very high probability that Davante Adams finishes over Michael Thomas this year as the number 1 wide receiver overall. That's not that crazy.
Very high probability.
As in,
he did
as in around like
practice,
50%.
right? This says he left for a deep ball Wednesday practice, came down awkwardly. He briefly went to the medical tent before coming back to practice in pads, but was pointing to his ankle after his return. That was 4 days ago, so I'm pretty sure he's fine, but might want to monitor that a little bit.
And the offseason, you're going to see a lot of this with a lot of players. They're going to be taken off the field. People are going to freak out, and it's because it's the offseason. Why risk putting them back out there in pads playing against your own team?
Okay, and in Davante Adams' defense, this will be my last point. I think he has the best quarterback with the least competition around him. Would you agree? Tyreek Hill, you still have Kelsey there. Julio, you have Calvin Ridley and Hayden Hurst, maybe, I don't know. And then Michael Thomas, Michael Thomas may be the only guy ahead of him because he does have Jared Cook, Emmanuel Sanders, guys like that. Kamara catch a lot of balls. But I think he's got the best.
That's why I think he's locked for number 2, though. Because if he plays 16 games, that's an easy lock for 140 targets.
Yes.
And it's not like a Michael Thomas 140, 50 targets where you're running slant routes, getting 5 yards a catch. He's going a little bit deeper than Thomas is, and he's getting as many red zone targets as he is as well.
Yeah.
You know what? I misspoke. I do have him ahead of Julio. I even voted in your little poll you did earlier. Picked him up.
That's the same. We did Julio last week too.
No, I remember that I had him ranked, but yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be he's out to prove something this season.
Oh, yeah.
After they drafted Jordan Love, he is going to come out guns blazing and just throw the ball all over the place, and Davante Adams is going to benefit greatly from that.
What were the Packers thinking? Aaron Rodgers, literally, we've been saying it this whole time. He needs a second wide receiver. We thought it was Geronimo. Britt thought it was Geronimo. He thought it was MVS. It wasn't. Are you going to throw Allen Lazard out there again? And you're going to draft a backup QB? They're trying to do the Favre Rodgers thing.
He was the same age as Favre when they drafted him, so.
And Davante Adams' last game, the NFC Championship, which they lost, but he had 9 catches, 140 yards, so on 11 targets. Ended on a very good note. He did burn people last year, which is why I think he might fall a little bit this year.
He burned people because he got hurt.
Just based on missing games, yes. Yeah. It's not like he was bad.
Well, no, but you're still losing out on someone that you drafted really high when they don't play. So in my sense, you got burned. But if he does, if you can get Zeke and Davante Adams on that third, and he does fall a little bit, because people do have a hard on for Lamar and Mahomes, which they might be going early second round. I don't know.
I don't see any way he makes it all the way back to that 17.
Me neither, really. But that's the only reason I would take him, because I think running back has such a higher drop off.
It just depends on the other people's rankings, because.
True.
What do we have? We had Julio. Julio was our last player, right? And then Tyreek Hill is going to be coming up. So we have them ranked all basically. It's like that second tier quarterbacks. It's basically the same as the wide receivers. Just flip a coin, pick who you want.
Pretty much.
They're all ranked very close together. So
yep.
Once one of them goes, you could see a couple more if they want to go wide receiver. Most people are going running back though.
What would it take? What would it take for you at the turn to go Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill?
That's funny you asked me. That was actually a comment on it was Julio and Tyreek Hill was a comment
on
either
one.
Our YouTube channel.
Julio and Davante, or Davante and Tyreek Hill, one of those combinations.
I don't think I could do that. Or maybe Julio and Davante Adams, maybe. I don't think I could do Tyreek because if you're going to go wide receiver in the first 2 rounds, you better damn sure make sure that they are like, I'd rather go Michael Thomas like 6th or 7th and then pray to God Julio or Davante Adams falls to you.
It's
But
a
I
lot
feel like
less risk.
yeah, if you go Tyreek Hill and then another wide receiver, like the boom or bust with Tyreek, and then you're going to be drafting your first running back in the 3rd round, maybe like Chris Carson or someone like that. Like that's a little worrisome.
That's not the zero running back strategy, but it's almost there. Like you just fucking take 2 more wide receivers and then grab you a Tariq Cohen and run whatever.
Yeah, hey,
People win with it though.
When people zig, if you zag,
yeah, you're getting
you
value.
can take some damage. Yes, you do. You get value.
And this might be the year because everyone's gonna. We say it every year, I guess, but everyone's gonna be drafting running backs in the first few rounds, or at least they're gonna try to.
I think 4 years ago was the last time it happened where Antonio Brown was the first player off the board, unanimous, number 1. And then, yeah, that kind of burned everybody that year because running backs kicked back up.
Yeah.
All right. Davante Adams. He is our 3rd ranked wide receiver, number 11 overall. We out.
We out.
We out.